I never know how to start these things, but I guess I'll say, welcome back. So excited to have the amazing Jojo Hill here today to talk to us a little bit about her experience. Hi, Jojo.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God. My pleasure.
Wow.
So this week we wanted to talk a little bit more about what it's like to go to a residential treatment facility, which I don't know because I was never in residential. So tell us everything. You have beautiful eyes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they're like
thank
green.
you. Well, I didn't go to residential until maybe like 3 or 4 months into my treatment experience. I should have gone in the very beginning, but I mean, like most people, I had a lot of struggles with my insurance really covering anything and dropping me down. And at one point I had to be, they had to, what was it called when they like give you money to stay?
Oh, they give you a grant?
A grant, yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So I got a grant to stay, and then, but my insurance wasn't doing anything, so I had to leave treatment. And then it wasn't until I switched over my insurance provider and got a new insurance provider and returned to treatment a month after I was dropped that I was able to get the appropriate level of care, which meant going up to residential, actually here in Southern California, because I live in Northern California. I was there for about a month. It was interesting because the whole time I was in treatment before I went to residential, I knew that I needed to go to residential, but I was too afraid to tell any of my therapists or any of the other clients there with me. And I needed to be asked point blank, are you willing to go, in order to be able to say yes and kind of put that in motion. And then when I went to residential, it took some adjusting, and then once I was there, I never wanted to leave. And
why was that? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it was the first place in my adult and teen life where I really felt fully safe, comfortable, and accepted in every way. And like the space was there to hold me. And it was 24 hours. So except for outings, I never had to leave that space. And you know, this residential, it was really nice. It was in a house, it was set up like a home. You know, we slept in beds. It felt like a home that was created for me and for everyone else there, almost immediately.
How many people were in it with you?
Just 6 of us total.
And were they all female, or were there some male?
All women.
All women?
Yeah, yeah, all women identified people. It was magical, and there were times when I wanted to leave. I'm bad with rules and certain boundaries, and so I would really like push against certain aspects of the treatment experience that I felt really like grating and rough on me. And the hardest part about being in treatment for me was feeling almost like penned in and wanting to really spread myself out farther, but not being able to because of all of the rules. So I did get in trouble sometimes. Yes. I remember they sent me off on this 8-hour outing where I had to eat 2 meals and basically spend the whole day by myself. And it was in the summer in LA, but somehow, like, inexplicably, it started hailing.
Oh.
And they told me, like, I couldn't go into any clothing stores. But they sent me in a place that had 1 coffee shop, 1 movie theater that wasn't playing any movies, and everything else was clothing stores, so.
Okay, I guess I get pelted for 8 hours.
Yeah, so I ended up going into a clothing store for my own good. And for me, I was in a place where I was actually okay doing that. It's not, I wouldn't recommend to anyone else in treatment that they go against the rules. It was a choice that I made, and that outing actually proved really beneficial for me because it was a safe place for me to test that boundary with myself in a way where I was able to go back to the nest afterwards and be like, this is what happened, and I bought a shirt and I love it and I feel good about it, and like I didn't like, you know, freak out in the dressing room or anything. You know, I think about residential a lot. I don't miss it so much. It's been a couple years, and the times when I do miss it, I know that it's because I'm needing in my own life that type of comfort and care that they give.
Can you sort of take us through what a typical day was like when you were there?
Yeah, so you wake up really early.
They make you wake up early? Bastards.
I know.
Rude. You can't just sleep until 2 in your PJs?
Oh God, I wish. That's all I wanted.
Right?
Yeah.
I guess you probably wouldn't have healed then. Like
well,
indulging the depression.
You heal your sleep deprivation.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, so you wake up really early. You wake up at like 6 or 6:30. You have to wear a dressing gown, like doctors like thing, like the
scrub?
shift that, no, like the shift that they wear that ties in the back.
Oh, the whole time?
Just in the beginning, because you take weights and they take your blood pressure.
Right.
To see what it's like and if you're orthostatic and all that. And then
Orthostatic, what's that?
Orthostatic, oh God. It's when your vitals change dramatically between sitting and standing. So your blood pressure drops and your heart rate changes in certain ways. And when you're orthostatic, it's really dangerous and you're in danger of passing out. And you might already know because you might get head rushes, but a lot of people are orthostatic and they don't know it. And it's just an indication of poor health.
Got it.
So you take vitals, and then we had breakfast. And at the residential that I went to, we made all of our own meals and snacks, which was really helpful because it forces everyone to get used to preparing food and being around other people while they prepare food, and then eating food that they prepare. And they use the exchange method. And so then we'd sit down for breakfast. We played a lot of table games. And then after that, we'd go into groups. And we had maybe 6 groups a day on weekdays. Maybe 5 or 6. And we also had a thing called push fluids, where 4 times a day, just to get even more water into our body, we'd have to basically chug an 8-ounce glass of water. So I peed
constantly
so much. Yeah, because we were eating 6 times a day, and then I was pushing fluids 4 times a day. Before and after groups, it was like, I need to use the bathroom right now.
Did you guys have limitations on bathroom use or rules?
We did have rules. So when you first get there, you're on line of sight, which means that there's always a staff member looking at you. And then afterwards, you kind of go down levels. And you get privileges, so eventually you can use the bathroom and just have the door slightly open, and a staff member will be there, kind of listening, but mostly just making sure that you're not doing behaviors in the bathroom.
Right.
And I remember the point where I finally got the privilege to be able to use the bathroom without anyone being outside of the door.
That's a big deal. We didn't have that privilege when I at PHP. No, we had to always go in pairs.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah.
I was so proud. I told like every new staff member who tried to come with me to the bathroom, like,
no,
stop. I can do this on my own.
Awesome. It's a big deal though.
It is. It's the little things.
Yeah.
You know, it's the little things. And that was, you know, for some people, that is a huge adjustment, is like having people hearing you while you're in the bathroom doing your thing and kind of being outside of the door. For some people, that's, besides the therapy part, that's one of the hardest parts to get used to.
Very invasive.
It is very invasive. But it's something that happens, and it is there for a reason, and most people kind of work through it and get over it, and most people I know who went to treatment are incredibly open about talking about like the physical processes of their bodies, just like I. And treatment is to thank for that.
So 6 of you, all-day groups.
Yeah.
What did you guys do for fun? Was there fun times? Like,
there were some fun times.
Yeah.
People in treatment become attached to each other so fast because you are bearing your souls to each other and crying all the time together. You're going through maybe one of the hardest periods of your life together. So this bonding happens almost instantaneously. And so in the free time, you know, we aren't allowed to like get up and move around very much. So a lot of what we did was watch romantic comedies actually, and paint our nails.
Great, sounds fun. I see why you want to go back. I want to do that. Yeah.
You know, a lot of inside jokes. I think with the people that I know from treatment, I've accumulated some of the most inside jokes as with anyone else in any other area of my life.
Were you all struggling with the same type of symptoms?
No. Our eating disorders and their symptoms and the expression of the eating disorder in general ran all the way across the board. And I think that was really good. I mean, sometimes a new person would come in and whatever they looked like would trigger a lot of other people who were already there. And there'd be like some jealousy or fear or like excitement to have that new person in the mix or resentment even.
Yeah.
But that's also part of the treatment experience is to get used to seeing all different types of bodies and to kind of release a lot of the energy around what it means to have an eating disorder and what it means to let the eating disorder go. And you know, it's incredibly helpful to have people with all different types of eating disorders around you to help you do that.
Yeah. How does someone know they need or are ready for residential?
I would say if you're already in treatment and you're at PHP or lower, and it's just maybe you are making progress. I was making progress at PHP and IOP, but it was so slow, and it felt like I was just repeatedly hitting my head against a concrete wall. I knew like at the rate I was going, I'd be at that level of care for years. Like it just wasn't enough. And I also at that point wasn't able to like follow my meal plan at all.
Yeah.
And so that's how I knew that I needed to go to residential. But I think, you know, deep inside, we usually know what we want. And I know part of having an eating disorder is your connection to your intuition. There's a stoppage there often, but it is still there. And looking back, I think I knew even before I went to residential that it was what I would need in order to kind of move forward. But it is really hard to piece out that kernel of knowing from all the bullshit that your eating disorder is telling you. So I don't think there's really a hard and fast rule, but if you're not making progress, or the progress is really slow and you feel like giving up, or you just know it's what you need, and it's not your eating disorder telling you that to prove that you're sick enough, then you should go if you can.
What has been the best part of recovery?
The best part of recovery has been all the energy and time that being in recovery frees me up to do other things and to think about other things. I don't consider myself fully recovered yet, but the piece of recovery that I'm still working on is really just like how to be a grown adult and be myself and set boundaries and assert myself. I'm so much better at doing all of those things now than I was before, and it makes my life 1,000 times better. And the sense of internal freedom and strength that I have, that I had before but I couldn't access, has allowed me to grow and change in ways that I could never have done before. Although treatment felt like I was being trapped sometimes, and I really crave freedom, I felt trapped because of where I put myself. And then once I got out of treatment, I was able to put myself in a space where I don't have to feel that way anymore.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's amazing. If you were to give young Jojo some words of wisdom, baby Jojo.
Baby Jojo.
Sweet little baby Jojo.
Burp.
Yeah.
I would tell her to not be afraid to stand up for herself and say what she wants and say what she doesn't want, and to tell people when they're infringing on me, little me, and to force the world to create more space for me without, you know, encroaching on anyone else.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank
chatting
you.
today. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
Oh. Bye. That was awesome.